Welcome to the Online Success Journey podcast, your opportunity to discover and learn from entrepreneurs like yourself. This is not your typical podcast, but a place where you can get the real story and find out how real people encounter speed bumps and detours, but journey through to find success. Now here's your host for the Online Success Journey podcast, Patience.
We are back with episode 355, one of the online success journey. Our guest today is a successful entrepreneur who's excited to share the various steps they took to build their business. And you'll want to subscribe right now and ensure you'll never miss a journey like this one. Joining us today is Michael Arnold, a serial entrepreneur with skills that ranges from business management, business development, time management, strategy, efficiency coaching, and much, much more. Hello, Mike.
Hello. How are you, Patience?
I'm fine, thank you. My audience are excited to hear your story. Just start by telling us one thing we are going to learn from you today that will help us on our journey to success.
I don't know if I can give you a specific thing that each individual person would learn other than, my perspective. That's something that definitely I'll share, and what you take from it is up to you.
I can't wait to hear more about that. Let's start with the basics. Can you tell my audience a little bit about your background, about what you did before you started your own business?
I am a work-from-home entrepreneur. I've worked for many different companies throughout the years across the United States, big companies, small companies. I've worked for myself, and a lot of it was working from home. I essentially wrote a book called Slacking Off, which is available on Amazon, and the reason that I'm here. And that book basically goes over my successes while working from home and my failures. And in that, I give some very easy exercises for people to work from home more efficiently, save time, and become better at really getting more time and managing their day and becoming more good for themselves, you could say.
Wow, what a background, Mike. Why do you do what you do?
I do what I do in relation to life because obviously I have goals and purposes and I want to achieve those. I wrote this book for entrepreneurs who are very busy, stay-at-home mothers, stay-at-home fathers, really anybody who has trouble managing multiple things throughout a day, doesn't keep well organized, or even does keep well organized, but finds themselves having trouble with things piling up or becoming a little bit overwhelming. So the whole goal here is to help people become less overwhelmed and give them more time, which is not something many people can truly offer.
Tell us about the slack off day. What is that? Is that when we don't do anything?
That's the day that you start when you're reading my book. You start off with a full day of avoiding work and documenting for yourself what you do when you are avoiding work. And then, of course, the following day, you work, having that list of things that you do when you know you're avoiding work. And, of course, just to help you reorient what you take pleasure in and what you consider work. It's really something that is a discovery process for each individual reader so that they can learn more about who they are and what they enjoy and just reorient.
Everyone knows what happened in 2020. How did this affect your business?
My business didn't suffer to the degree that others did. I'm currently on project with a medical technology company right now, developing their business, helping them, develop new partnerships and raise investment. And their company definitely, like many, had a fluctuation in the amount of participation that it has. But for me, I wrote this book actually before the pandemic in 2019 and finished it after the pandemic. So most people are working from home, as of now, and maybe some people have gone back to work. But either way, I think that for this particular book, this is a perfect time. I think anybody can read it and gain something from it.
Let's put man aside. How do you know you're successful?
That's tough to say. Success is relative to the person. So, success for me can be 20 million books sold. Success, in my estimation, is based on getting what I want at the time and the place I want it, which also aligns with the definition of happiness, getting what I want when I want it. So I think, that's a tough question. It's not necessarily a specific question, which I can appreciate as an interviewer, but it doesn't necessarily drive, I think, enough development. So I would just say that in order for somebody to achieve a certain level of success, they would have to have what success is for them, in order to actually know that they've achieved it. And if you're lucky, your criteria of success changes as you achieve each one of your goals. And obviously that's another part of this book is how to set and achieve goals and set and achieve priorities throughout your day so that you can actually do more and achieve more.
Tell my audience about the magic moment, the day it suddenly all went right for you.
I don't know if there's ever been a full magic moment where it suddenly all went right for me, but I'll say that, when I took a spiritual journey and decided to start doing some spiritual development myself, utilizing, a book called Dianetics, really kind of started giving me a lot of aha moments. And then, of course, I started digging in further and really comparing the things that I was learning with what existed in my life, and started to realize that, there are fundamental truths that I think every human being on earth can relate to. And once I understood those fundamental truths, things became less chaotic and more understandable. And once that occurred, I then started looking at my life and looking for ways that I could obviously handle my weaknesses and strengthen my strengths and become a better person to myself, my friends, my family, and the world around me.
What inspired you to go on a spiritual journey?
I think like anybody, it was ups and downs in life. It was, my mother had passed away 2014, and, it really changed my viewpoint because she was a young 56-year-old woman at the time. And I think like most people, when they have a parent die, it's a bit of a earth-shattering situation, life-changing. Me being the youngest of my siblings, was designated the arbiter of everything in relation to her life, and took me at a time where I was also happened to be at the height of my career in the Cox Automotive and automotive industry. So that, amongst questioning things, of course, that shook my stable datums, if you will, brought me into a place where I was seeking truth. And the traditional religious methodology that I studied previously or had tried and attempted to learn weren't as clear, and certainly didn't all seem to make sense in sequential order, if you know what I mean. There was a lot of things you could apply in one place but not in another, and things of that nature. So I was looking for a more consistent truth.
Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
As you mentioned that you've been a coach and you've been in different management, I think you have met aspiring entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs as well along the way. But can anyone be an entrepreneur, or are some people more cut out for it than others?
That's a great question. I think that entrepreneurship is most importantly defined as the person willing to take as many risks as needed in order to achieve a particular goal in business or commerce. And so the question shouldn't be whether, anyone can be an entrepreneur. It's, can you stomach the amount of ups and downs and the amount of failure that is required in order to succeed as an entrepreneur? Because entrepreneurship can be started by anybody, but very few actually make it because it requires toughness. It requires somebody to be able to deal with more rejection, more failure, more upset than anything else that they'll face in their careers. And that's the main reason why people do not become entrepreneurs or stay entrepreneurs, is because they cannot handle the ups and downs that you have to be able to handle being an entrepreneur. The sure, certainty that you'll get a paycheck tomorrow is one of the reasons why people never actually leave their particular positions in their jobs. But an entrepreneur knows that he is much more valuable than any position he can hold in a corporation, therefore can really make the most of his time, and as a result, money.
What have you learned from business as a whole?
There's no one thing that I would say is more prominent that I've learned in business as a whole that I can give you. I can just tell you I've learned that all of the things that I was running from before I started my career have only become stronger and more powerful as I've become stronger and more powerful. So any particular personal strengths or weaknesses that any of us have that we don't work on from day one is inevitably going to come back and hit you in the face. And as we expand in a good way, our weaknesses expand with us and become much more powerful as we begin to be bigger and bigger beings. So I would say what I've learned is that you cannot run from your weaknesses and that you should conquer them. That should be the first and foremost and most important thing you do in your life. Conquer your weaknesses.
What is the most dangerous belief an entrepreneur can have?
That he or she knows everything. The most dangerous belief an entrepreneur can have is that they know everything. That would probably be the single most destructive thought that I think I have ever heard anyone in business approach. And not because you can't know many things or that you can't be incredibly knowledgeable, but I think that thought fortifies a person from new information.
If you could rerun the first year of your business, what would you definitely not do?
That's an interesting question. And I would say that, the things that I wouldn't do today are very different than how my mindset was in my first year. And I definitely don't go back and try to recreate the past, because I think that's hopeless and ridiculous. But I would say that had I the same business that I did have in my first year in the finance business, today I would run it very differently. I would probably put more effort and time into making employees and partners, and less time trying to run the entire company all by myself. So that's probably what I would do differently.
Tell us how to face who you really are and spending time with yourself.
I think that the first step is to buy my book. I mean, anyone can afford it. Anyone. I think there's probably 7, 8-year-old kids out there that can buy my book because it's very inexpensive. Read the first intro, or don't read it. Go to the first chapter. Start with a slacking off day. Even if you're a kid in school, or you're in college, you're in high school, even if you're in middle school, you can start with a slacking off day. And the good news is that it doesn't matter where you are in the world, you can benefit from doing that. And that's the first step. That's it right there, is buying my book, doing the exercise in the first chapter, and starting to face yourself right away.
And then we'll discover who really you are?
Of course. Well, let me ask you a question. If you started today trying to avoid work with all possibility, and then you only just wrote down what you did when you weren't working, lay on the couch, read a book, paint, go outside, do whatever you do, how much more are you going to know yourself tomorrow?
A lot.
Well, there you go. And then when you try to work tomorrow and you now have this list of things that you do when you're not working, how are you going to avoid seeing what you do when you're not working? And then, of course, while you're working, if you start to do those things, will understand that you're actually slacking off. You'll understand more about yourself. You'll know exactly one or two things. You'll know that you slack off a lot for reasons that you need to handle because of your own weaknesses, or you'll understand that you don't have enough slacking off time in any given day or week, and that you need to make more time for yourself.
What is the most valuable thing you have ever given away?
The most valuable thing I've ever given away is my time, and that is walking into an interaction, having a conversation, or giving somebody my time that is completely wasted on myself or them. I try not to think that any interaction is going to be that way, but of course, we all go through points in our life where we sit with someone or do something that we say, I probably could have been doing this or can be doing something else. Now, of course, that's not being present, probably not looked upon as a productive thing, but it's real. I think that if you're in a situation where you're having to tell yourself that you could be doing something better, you should be doing that thing, not what you're doing.
What is one thing that has contributed to your success?
One thing that's contributed to my success, well, first and foremost, I have, right? My ability to, outwork any of my peers. One thing that I heard early in my career was a gentleman said, listen, somebody may be smarter than me. They may have more money than me. They may have more friends than me, but nobody will outwork me. Nobody. And I respected that and thought, well, I have a little bit of everything. And so if I held this datum in effect and decided that I will outwork anybody, meaning that if you give me a goal, I'll triple it, quadruple it, I'll 10x it. If I have a challenge, I'll pretend that it's 5 times worse so that I can overcome it 5 times better. And I think that right there, orders of magnitude, doubling up any problem in my mind in order to be able to confront it and performing, 5 times better than what's been put in front of me, I think is a key.
What grounds you?
What grounds me? I'm going to assume you mean what makes me feel stable. So what makes me feel stable are the fundamental truths that I know about myself and about the world around me. I've learned through my spiritual journey and through the work of L. Ron Hubbard that there's been a lot of tried, tested ways to understand life. But I think that the origination of life is a culmination of already written information out there, like in the Vedaic hymns and in Hinduism, Taoism, Buddhism, some Christianity, some philosophy, science. And I think that when you put it all together and you really start to see that truth resonates for each individual person for them, right? What's true for you is true for you. And that is something that's helped me to a high level of stability.
In your businesses, do you have a mentor or a coach?
I do have a mentor and a coach. I mean, there are people, in the world that I look up to and consider to be my peers, or somebody who I appreciate and have a lot of affinity for. People like Elon Musk and some of our forefathers of science, and obviously L. Ron Hubbard is one. And I respect the philosophies of Jesus Christ. I respect the religious beliefs of many different religions, Christianity, Mormonism, Catholicism, Scientology, of course. I respect a lot of the beliefs and members of those communities, and happy to share my life with them.
What is the most valuable thing your mentors has told you?
The most viable thing?
Yes.
There's no one viable thing. I think that fundamentally what I've learned, which I'll state and restate, is do not run from your weaknesses. Confront, face, and handle your weaknesses until they are no longer your weaknesses. Capitalize on your weaknesses.
Let's talk about your book. Who's this book for and why now?
This book is for any person who feels like they could get more time out of their day. It's for any person who finds himself procrastinating, slacking off too much, not slacking off enough, anything that you tell yourself that you wish you could do differently in relation to your time. This book's for you. Doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter where you are. If you buy this book, buy it on Amazon. You can buy a digital version or a paperback version. If you're in some countries, you can only buy it digitally, but you can read it on your computer. It's a very simple book. It's very easy to read. And, start your journey. Do the exercises. And at the end, you'll save time and money.
And how can we connect with you?
You can connect with me on Facebook, Slacking Off Book, Twitter, Slacking Off Book, Instagram, and that's that.
Thank you. If you are listening to this on the podcast platform and you are encouraged by Mike's journey, please go to our website at onlinesuccessjourney.com. In addition to the amazing free content, you can work direct with me. Check out my course, Success: How to Set Goals and Double Your Productivity, a course for achieving success in work and life, when you visit onlinesuccessjourney.com. The site has a ton of audio clips from hundreds of successful entrepreneur guests' journeys, all there to help you find the path to your own online success journey. Check it out. That's onlinesuccessjourney.com. Now, Mike, I would love for you to share more with my audience if we are up for it.
Sure.
Thank you. Do you watch movies or read books?
I read books mostly, but I definitely watch movies too.
Tell us, what is your favorite book that has some relevance to being an entrepreneur?
I mean, The 4-Hour Workweek is a great book. The Power of No is a great book. Never Split the Difference is an amazing book on negotiation. Grant Cardone's 10X Rule is an amazing book. Sell or Be Sold, so far as I'm reading it, is an amazing book. Richard Bach is an amazing writer as well. There's quite a few that I would recommend for anybody to read. And I think reading is a very successful action for any entrepreneur.
If your business was down to its last $100, how would you invest it?
Well, my particular business, I would say I'd probably invest it in tools to help me, quadruple or maybe 10x whatever it is I'm doing. I would do something. First thing I would do is probably make sure I'm following all of the advice that I'm giving in my own book. And then I would, probably use that to either invest in more things that help me save more time or help me duplicate my current action.
If you are going to keep a note to yourself in your pocket every day, what would be written on it?
A note to myself in my pocket. Nothing. Because I don't need notes to or sayings in order to perpetuate me or hold me stable. I wouldn't put a note or a saying in my pocket, because I don't need those things in order to know where I'm going and what I need to do.
What is your next chapter?
Well, right now I'm in the medical technology space, working with a company called Range of Motion Technology, helping them with their development and looking probably into the personal flying vehicle industry in the very near future, once I complete in this particular industry, in the medical industry. Personal flying vehicles, I think, are an amazing phase of evolution for us as a culture, and I think it's definitely going to be the next fun thing that occurs out there.
Do you feel like you succeeded or like you are only on the way?
Oh, I'm definitely only on the way. I feel like I've definitely succeeded in many things, but if you're a good goal achiever, a setter, once you achieve that goal, you're on to the next goal. You never stop goals. You can unlimited amount of goals, unlimited.
Will you ever stop?
No, I'll never stop.
Remind us how we can connect with you.
On Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Slacking Off Book.
Mike, it's been great to have you here to share your online success journey with us.
Thank you.
You are welcome.
Likewise.
Remember, success is a journey. Don't wait. Let's start the journey. Patience and Mike.
This is not the end of the journey. We hope you've enjoyed listening to Patience and her guest and want you to know that there are hundreds of episodes available at onlinesuccessjourney.com. Patience would like to thank you for listening to the podcast, and she has a free gift for you on her website, including an audio compilation of her guests' best tips, uplifting stories, and even a bit of fun. Additionally, there are special clips of over 250 episodes that have never aired on the podcast and are only available to members of the Online Success Journey. Check the website and click on Join Now to get free and instant access. Of course, you know that listening to the journeys of others helps us each chart our own path. So make sure you're subscribed on the favorite platform you have to be notified as each new interview is posted. There are so many ways to stay connected to the Online Success Journey and listen in. And if you're enjoying the podcast, we appreciate your help in telling others. One of the best ways to share the benefit you get is to rate and review the podcast at Apple Podcasts and other sites. We appreciate your help and your willingness to share the journey. One last thing. If you're feeling a bit lost or overwhelmed on your own journey, Patience can help. Check out our coaching sessions on how to set goals and double your productivity while you're at the website. Working with Patience is a great way to get back on the right path. On behalf of Patience, and until next time, thanks once more for listening. It is our hope that this podcast will guide you on your own online success journey.